In this video, we'll be learning about the reproductive structure of plant, that is flower. I hope my screen is visible to you. So we'll start from this. As you can see, this is the picture of a flower. And flower is called reproductive structure of plant. So this is a flower, and flower is known as reproductive structure. Why do we call it reproductive structure of plant? Because from the flower seeds are produced after the fertilization, and that seed will form the new plant, give rise to a new plant. So we'll start learning from bottom to top. So first part is pedicel. Pedicel is the part of the plant which helps in attaching that flower to the stem of the plant. Next comes this broader part called thalamus. Thalamus, or we can say receptacle. It is a broader part which gives hold to all the other structures present in the flower. So it holds all the structures present in the flower. Next is sepals. These green leafy like structure, as you can see outside the flower, outside the petals, is known as sepals. So group of sepals will form calyx, and sepals have two functions. Sepals help in protecting the flower when the flower is in bud stage. So when the flower bud is growing, or the bud is growing, and you know that the flower is produced from the bud. So when it is in the form of bud, it helps in protecting the flower, and it covers the whole flower. So it helps in protection, as well as it is the photosynthetic. It does photosynthesis. So it is the photosynthetic part of the flower. It is green in color, so it stores food, it synthesizes food with the help of light reaction. So it has chlorophyll, that helps in formation of food of the flower. Next come petals. So you can see the colorful petals, as you can see in the rose plant, petals are there. Petals, group of petals is known as corolla, and these corolla are very attractive for the insect or for any flies to come and sit on the flower, so that pollination will occur, so that the seeds produced by the flower will get dispersed from one flower to another flower. So it can be from one flower to another plant of the same plant, or one flower of a plant to the another flower of a plant to the different plant. So petals help in attracting the insect or the butterflies to come sit on the flower, suck the nectar, flower juice from the flower, and the seeds will get attached to that insect, and then it will get dispersed by the insect. So petals helps in attracting the insects and flies. Next comes these reproductive parts of the plant. This is androecium, and next is gynoecium. Gynoecium is the female reproductive part, and androecium is the male reproductive part of the flower. We will be learning about androecium as well as gynoecium in the next few minutes. So first we'll just recapitulate whatever we have read till now. So we started from the base of the flower. That stem of the flower is pedicel, which helps in attaching the flower to the stem. Next comes the broader part, which holds each and every organ of the flower, that is thalamus or receptacle. So then comes this is the ovary. The swollen part of this after this is ovary. So this we'll learn about in gynoecium in the next class. Next comes the corolla, calyx. Calyx is the protective part of the plant. It is made up of group of sepals, is known as calyx. Sepals does photosynthesis, helps in formation of food also, and it has chlorophyll that helps in photosynthesis. Next is group of petals is corolla. Petals are very colorful, juicy. It makes the flower juicy. It produces nectar inside it, so that the insect will come in search of nectar for sucking the flower nectar, flower juice, or for dispersion of seeds. Next is androecium, that is the male reproductive part. Next is gynoecium, female reproductive part. Next we will be learning about these two sex organs of the flower. So this is the stalk-like structure, and this is bilobed androecium. So androecium, this is called anther, this is called filament. Anther has these pollen grains, in actual, these anthers are bilobed in structure, means 2 lobes are there, but 4 pollen grains are present inside it. This we'll learn in higher classes, but now you just have to learn that inside the anther pollen grains are present, and the stalk of the anther is filament. Both of these constitute female reproductive part, or we can call it stamen and roscium. Next is female reproductive part. Pollen part is known as ovary. This is style and this is stigma. So this style will help in penetration of this pollen grain inside it. So first, when the pollen grain comes from the anther, it gets dispersed by insect or by wind or by water, by animal. So it will get dispersed and it sits on the stigma, the compatible pollen grain. The stigma will identify the pollen grain which is compatible enough to germinate inside this ovary. Only that pollen grain will germinate and give rise to the pollen tube. So this pollen grain sits on the stigma. Stigma has some sticky substance on it. The compatible pollen grain will penetrate inside the style part and then enter inside the ovary, and this will enter through the micropylar end. We'll be learning about this in the next 2 class. So next is what happens inside the ovary. So these are the 2 pollen nuclei inside the ovary, and when the pollen grain will enter inside the ovary through the micropylar end, these are the 2 synergid cells. This is egg cell with which the pollen grain will fertilize, and these are 3 antipodal cells. So what happens is, one pollen grain, there are 2 pollen grain. When the pollen tube germinate inside the style, the pollen divided into 2 parts, 2 pollen grain. One pollen grain will react with 2 pollen nuclei, will fertilize 2 pollen nuclei, and it will give rise to the endosperm. Endosperm is 3n in number, means it is triploid in number. Like the normal cell is diploid, but this endosperm is triploid. Why? Because 1 nucleus of this and 2 nuclei of this will fertilize to give 3 nuclei. Next, one pollen grain fertilize with 1 egg cell and give rise to zygote. So when these 2 fertilization occurs simultaneously at the same time, this is called double fertilization. That means when one pollen grain combines or fertilizes 2 pollen nuclei, it will give rise to endosperm. When one pollen grain fertilizes with 1 egg cell, it will give rise to zygote. When zygote as well as endosperms are formed simultaneously at the same time, this is called double fertilization. So this was the whole thing we have learned today. First, we have read about the structure of the reproductive structure of the plant, that is the flower, and then we have learnt about the reproductive structures of the flower, that is androecium and gynoecium. I hope it is clear to you. If you have any question, you can ask. We'll learn about another topic in the next class. Thank you so much.